Hey, it's Malachi Church versus State. I was with some friends today talking, and of course, politics came up. Not a good subject around me. No, I'm pretty easygoing. But however, they were frustrated with that I'm not a blind Trump supporter. And I said, well, I've supported him. I said, if you take a look at some of the things I've said, long before anybody else did, I supported him on some issues. But I said, I'm not a blind supporter of anybody. I'm going to hear what he says, and then I'm going to see what he does. And oftentimes people, they hear a lot of things, their ears are tickled. It's like the Bible says they like to have their ears tickled, right? They like to hear things that make them feel good, but the actions are never a representation of what the person says, you know. I'm not saying Trump has made a lot of promises he can't keep or hasn't kept, but I'm saying he says a lot of things and some things don't get done. Now, whether it's an aspect of time or whatever, it's not my issue. The issue is that now, because it's year 3 and now we're seeking re-election, the whole thing turns from, well, he can't get those things done until he gets back in office, until he has a Republican Congress and a Republican Senate and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, well, we've had a Republican Congress and we've had a Republican Senate, and then things didn't happen. So that's not always the case. Leadership starts with the leader, and the leader making decisions and choices and working to get things done. Now, you could say, well, you know, blah, 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 whatever it is that you want to say. I don't care. See, I've ran for office. Now, I ran for office unsuccessfully 3 times. I did win. I was in school board. I know it's one of the lowest ones you can get other than dog catcher. But I ran. I mean, you run. You got to run. Then you go through this system, and then you have to. There's a lot of things you learn when you run for office, and a lot of things you learn from when you win election and what your duties are and what's required of you. And whether I ran and won is irrelevant. The thing is, when I ran, the things that I said, I truly believed in. I didn't waver on these things just because I lost. I didn't say, oh, blah, 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 and then I didn't win, and then I changed my mind. No, I've always believed these things. I've always believed these things. Now, I'm going to show some people some stuff because I like to show, don't tell. You know, I'm a believer in that. Don't talk it, prove it. I'm a big believer in that. A lot of people have problems with me when I tell people about what I've done, but that's because I'm a shower. Don't blow smoke. Prove it. Do it. Get it done. So I wanted to show you this because I don't have everything, but you can do your research if you really wanted to. You could do your research. Okay. I ran 3 times. 1 time for mayor, I ran in 2001. 2001, think about that. That's almost 10 years ago I ran for office. Oh, no, excuse me, 20 years ago. Sorry, 20 years ago. One of the issues when I ran, let's just talk about my first time when I ran for mayor, was the teens and the youth create a center. I was talking about trying to create a youth center, and basically, let's see, a vision for the youth to give them a place in this community, to be a listener of the community and their advocate to get things done, and the issue with traffic. We in Everett are now ranked the number 1 worst city or county to dealing with traffic. I was fighting for these things, telling people that this crap was coming down the pipe 20 years ago. And I was also talking about the youth. The youth has always been my big thing, because I've always said, well, because of all these things that are happening, it creates this this void for young people. There's no place for them. There's nothing for them to do. So therefore, an idle mind is the devil's playground, so to speak. So I was always trying to push teaching youth skills so they can grow up to be good human beings, so they could have the opportunities. When I started this, there were children being born that are now 19 years old. And guess what? They could be buying their first house right now. Like I did when I was 19, my first duplex. I became a business owner. 16 years from that point, they could have become their own business owner, making more money than their parents. That's what I was doing at 16. So I've been a firm believer. When I run for office, I believe what I say. I don't just say it to get votes. I don't just say it to try, it's not a game. And I don't like it when people treat it like a game, because getting into office and positions of power is not a game. It's not a game. And then I lost the mayor's race, but I met a lot of people. So the year later, I got asked to run for 38th district, which is right here, right? Now, I got asked to run for that position by the Republican Party because I'd done so well as mayor, met so many people, and they liked that I could speak and get in front of a crowd and not sound like a total idiot, that they wanted me to run against somebody who was going to be unopposed, because all the Republicans in Washington State were so afraid of this guy. His name was Aaron Reardon. I thought he was a piece of crap, and I said that. As a matter of fact, his campaign manager, well, no, not his campaign manager, it was Rick Larson's campaign manager. But I had people in his camp tell me that I was about the only person that ever made him stutter when he talked. Matter of fact, I think I called him out for that, and it's online somewhere because I was doing it. It was part of like a PBS thing, public broadcasting, when we did our debate. And when I ran for that, I was talking about, let's see, what was I talking about then? I got a lot of this covered up here. I think on that one, I was trying my main focus, because we all have platforms when we run. That's how it is. People have a platform, and it's supposed to be what they believe. And if that's truly what you believe, then that's what you're always going to believe, pretty much. My platform in there was, again, transportation, because I was dealing with a state Senate of Washington State, not U.S. Senate, but state Senate. So my issue was transportation, which has never changed. It's only gotten worse. We're one of the worst states in the nation for transportation. Taxes and property rights, which I said it takes the average household 116 days of hard work in order to pay the federal and state taxes, You work hard for what you have. Accountability tax reform today, that's what I talked about. Education and youth, again, I was wanting to really push awareness towards youth and help them become better citizens. Actually create jobs, create companies, just do good things other than waste their time sitting around playing video games, right? And I said this, 99% of teachers, because I was being backed by a lot of teachers, teachers teach with the desire to mold a strong and productive citizen. They need less bureaucracy, ramblings, and more support from our leaders. And then I said, always remember, if you love freedom, think of veteran. And I said that. That's what I said. Then, I don't have any paperwork on the next one. But the following year, because that was... One was 2001. I think the other one was the next year, the following year, because of how our elections are here. I ran for U.S. House of Representatives, okay? And that was against a guy named Rick Larson, who is still in office today. And he's a nobody. and people still, half the people don't even know who he is because he's such an idiot. And I ran because there was no one who was running at the time that was pro-life. All the candidates that came through the pipe, so to speak, that I was hearing about, they were all pro-choicers. These were the so-called Republican pro-choicers. They were all rhinos. Every single one of them was a rhino. So you know what? I went to a big event, and there's a guy there that was running, and I wanted to talk to him a little bit, and he just poo-pooed me, and he, basically made some comment about my religious right-winging ways weren't something that this Republican Party needed, and we needed somebody with a more stable, what do you say, more stability and the ability to reach over the aisle, so to speak, right? So I said, oh, okay. And this guy used to be, he worked with Ronald Reagan. So I said, okay, fine. All right. So the next day I bought his domain name. And that fireworks all over the place. They didn't like that. And I told him, I said, well, I'll sell it back to you, or I'll give it back to you if you just stop being a dick, right? And he wouldn't. So I ran for U.S. Senate. Of course, the Republican Party here didn't like me. I was somebody they liked a year before because I ran against somebody that was impossible to beat, so he wouldn't just get in there for nothing or for free. And I did obtain quite a few votes from him, even though no one's ever beat the guy. He actually got kicked out of office because of things that I had actually brought up 8 years prior to that. And nobody believed me, but they finally caught up with him. Your sins will find you out. So anyways, and that guy, his name was Aaron Rudin. So then when I ran for U.S. House of Representatives, right? I think that was in 2002 or 2003 for 2004. I can't remember. I made national news because I did a whole thing where I'll put the video on behind this where I did a speech with my sword. I talked about right versus wrong, blah blah blah, and my stance when I ran was I was a pro-lifer, right? I was a Christian conservative, and I believed that we needed to go back to being a constitutional republic, like we're supposed to be, lowering taxes, getting government out of people's business. I believed those things 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago now, and I actually believed them long before that, right? So when I say things against that people don't like about Trump, I'm just holding people's feet to the fire just as they should hold our feet to the fire. We should hold each other's feet to the fire. It's called iron sharpens iron. It's called accountability. If you just start to blindly follow somebody and you allow this person to wander, the guy may, he might be a good guy. Everything might be just hunky-dory in his mind. Maybe he doesn't know that he's kind of going astray. Who knows? People get caught up into things, and things are happening, and it's hard to sometimes get your feet planted on the ground properly, rooted. So you have to have people there that are rooted, that can keep you rooted. You don't want a kiss ass in your business telling you, oh, everything's okay, no problem. Oh yeah, it's all going while your freaking company's going down the tube. You need somebody that can stop you sometime and say, hey, look, dude, this is all screwed up, man. We got to fix this, and this. This is what's happening. You're too close to this person. You're too close to the scene. This is a forest here. This is not just a tree, man. You got to step back, see the whole picture, and you have to have people in your camp and in your administration that are not afraid to tell you you're freaking naked. A buddy of mine wrote a couple books, and I made fun of when I would hold up a book and say, this is my book because I wrote it. It's actually written by a friend of mine. And it was a book that had a character based out of my dad, but he did another character, and this character is based off of me. And I think he only had a couple lines in it. One of the lines was, he's the kind of person that would tell the king that he has no clothes and a small dick. Meaning he tried to make the point where I wasn't afraid to tell it like it is, and I never have been, and I never will be. And let me tell you what, if you truly believe in the things that you believe, you'll always believe them. They'll always be the foundation and the essence of who you are. And if you're worried about, and I'm talking about everybody out there who doesn't like the fact that I don't get behind somebody 100%, just because I say something doesn't smell right doesn't mean I've totally discarded the person. No, I'm just saying, dude, you have some crap on your shoes, man. Oh, did I? I didn't know. Sometimes, you ever meet somebody, let me say, have you ever met somebody that has their fly open and nobody says anything? Nobody says, hey, dude, you got your fly open and your dick's hanging out. You know what? I'm the kind of guy that walks over to the guy and says, zip up your pants. Why are people afraid to say that? Or if a guy's got such bad breath, give him a mint. Here's a mint. Why? And then it's always interesting. It's never the person that I tell that has crap on his shoes. Or it's never the person I tell to zip up his fly. Or it's never the person I tell that he needs a breath mint because his breath smells like crap. They're never the ones that are mad at me. They are usually 99.9%. They're usually, hey, thanks, man. Especially with breath. We don't know, right? So it's nice if somebody will tell you, hey, your breath smells like crap, dude. There's no harm to it. I don't say it in an evil tone. I say it in a nice tone. Hey, man, here's a mint. Dude, take a mint. You know what I mean? Those people never have, I don't have a problem with them. They don't have a problem with me. They're actually gracious if somebody said something. The problem is? The problem is with everybody else around them. Oh, how dare you say that to him? That was rude. No, it wasn't. His breath stunk. His fly was open. His dick was hanging out. I don't know why anybody didn't say anything before, but I saw it and I told him. He zipped up. He said thank you. He appreciated it. We need these kinds of people in our life. Iron sharpens iron. All these things that I'm saying are biblical. Maybe the Bible doesn't talk about your penis hanging out of your open fly on your drawer, but I'm almost pretty sure there is a verse in there somewhere that has this discussion about one's undergarments or something like that. I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to try to put it in the link below, or if I can find it before I finish posting this, or when I'm posting this, I'll put it in right now. So if you see it, that means I found it. If you're not, then that means it's probably in the description below. So here's the thing, people. You may not like the fact that I say what I say, and I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I have believed what I believe, the core of who I am, has been my foundation all my life. I can't even remember the time when it hasn't been. Okay? So, and I'm sorry that it might offend some people that are blindly following leaders, or that are all yes men with their noses up the other guy's butt. You know what I used to do to people like that? People that know me, really know me, they know me. They know if I see somebody sucking up to somebody, I'll run over. If I have, let's see. I'll run over and give them a napkin. I just had some lunch. I'll give them a napkin and I'll go, here's a napkin. And they'll look at me and go, what? I said, your nose, it's got crap on it. Because there's total sellout douchebags. And I'm sorry that people don't like the way I talk, but you know what? We're at a stage in this life, in the history of our earth, where we need men with balls. It's like, I got a scripture for you. It's in Job, where God told Job to tighten up his loins. I'm going to find that verse and I'm going to post it right now. So let me tell you something. As you're reading that verse, listen to my words. Even God will tell you to get your crap together. It's about building a stronger person, a better person. I want all our leaders to be great leaders. They've been chosen. They've been put in these positions for a reason. Okay? Either that they got one more vote over the other guy, or they really truly desire to do the best for the people and for the citizens of this United States. When I ran for office all these times, I believed everything I said. I didn't say anything to get a vote. Nothing. Matter of fact, one of my debates, and I've said this before, one of my debates, I had my teacher, high school teacher there. He's a Democrat, and I was running as a Republican, right? And this was at, I think, some sort of Americans with Disabilities meeting. We'd have all these different, I think it was a women's voters thing. Okay, women's voters turnout. So the guy actually got up there after I did my little speaking, and I didn't have a sword at this one. I'll put that at the end, so watch that. It'll be right at the end. Anyways, this guy, who's my teacher and a Democrat, we weren't running against each other, so there wasn't no big deal. He actually got up on stage after I got off stage, because he's right after me, and said to everybody, he says, I want to tell you something. This man right here, he is exactly the same as he was in my class in high school. He has not changed one bit. He has not wavered. So if you like what he had to say, or you support his ways and his actions and the things, he's always been like this. He said, so vote for him. Hey, that was pretty good high praise from a guy that was a Democrat, and you're a Republican in the state of Washington, where it's very, very it's got people are one or the other here in this state. This is not a Republican-friendly state, at least on this side of the mountains. Eastern Washington is one story. The peninsula is sometimes more conservative, but where I live, Snohomish County, and in my district, which was number 2, as far as when I ran for U.S. House of Representatives, I can tell you it's a heavy, hardcore Democrat leading area. Matter of fact, it's Snohomish County, King County, and Pierce County that all the other counties in Washington State could go Republican, and it only takes those 3 counties to turn the vote to give it to a Democrat in the presidential election, as far as our electoral college votes. Anyways, it's Malachi Church First State signing out. I've had a long day today, busy from early this morning. I had a cool talk with Matt Powerland. Hopefully we're going to be doing something here real soon. He's a cool guy. I like him. I've always liked him. And one of the few guys on YouTube that I can get up and call. Hey, dude, what's going on? And he remembered that we talked many, many, many years ago in regards to other things. So the guy's pretty sharp. Anyways, so check him out, subscribe to his channel, listen to his stuff. He's a good guy. So we'll talk at y'all later. And hug your kids, call your parents, go see neighbor, repent, and be baptized. Goodbye.
This is called the truth. And the truth cuts right down the center. You're either right or you're wrong. There's no separating truth. You can't be in the middle because it cuts you like a knife. A lot of people's giving me flack about this sword, good versus evil, right versus wrong, concern and values, Christian concern and values that stand before you today versus a liberal stronghold that's taken a hold of this country and taking us in the wrong direction. People ask me, they go, if you become my congressman, what are you going to do if they hold up your issues on the floor, or if they don't let your voice come to committee, or any type of thing, issue like that? Let me show you this. See this? I'm going to take this with me to Congress. And I tell you what, let me tell you what happened. I've got a friend that's used to be a pro baseball player. He came to me, he said, Glenn, I'm not getting any time on the field. I said, you got to spend time in your community. They've got to want to know you. And then he was playing. He was going back to the Cubs. They were putting him in the game. Why? Because people saw him in the community. Same thing applies when you want somebody to represent you in Congress. You don't want him to be held up. You don't want your voice to be held up on the floor, or issues that are important to you to be held up by a liberal committee. You need someone that is noticeable and seen, and someone who's not going to stand back and let people push them around, or you around, or anybody. I guarantee you this, I've already obtained #1 in the nation because of this. When I go to Congress, people are going to listen to what I have to say. And if they don't, I'm going to come to you. And then you're going to tell them what they have to do. So I appreciate the opportunity, if needed more, to talk one-on-one. This is a hard campaign. We need a lot of money, so I need your donations. I'm not going to make no bones about that. I need your support, and you know what? I need your prayers. Because, you know, we're in a church, and God's in control. So I always put everything in His hands. But the truth, my friends, will set us free. Thank you very much.